toward my New Living Testament coloring Bible for these mercy poured forth presentations. And it's because it meant so much to me when everything was falling apart, when everything in my life was just chaotic and hard to understand. And I would hear different things in the spirit as I would try to pray things out, because it was hard and it was dragging on for a long time. And I would hear these encouraging words from the spirit, but yet I knew that, it wasn't what was manifesting right now. And sometimes it's just like that. You just have to grab on to words of hope and say, I will not be moved no matter what my circumstances are. But it's really hard because the emotions that you're experiencing are very real, right? So I want to read something out of Job, chapter 6 and 7 is what I'm looking at. And I'll probably just kind of stay on this theme for a couple of days because I have lots of stuff on this theme, but we're going to get through it together. So again, I'm in the New Living Translation, but I'm going to be using the names as I understand them. Okay. So Job, then Job spoke again. If my misery could be weighed, and this is in response to his friends, like his whole world's just fallen, and the friends who are not very helpful show up to point out to him how wrong he is and this, and how wrong he is and that, and how, he just needs to change things around. It reminds me, really, I had some friends that when I became so ill, and I had some friends pretty far into kind of like a charismatic belief system and worship system in that frame of mind, right? And the things that I got from them, it was kind of like, well, if your faith was good enough, this wouldn't be happening to you. It was almost like blaming it on me for everything that was happening. And it made it that much harder to endure because it made me that much lonelier when people, that were supposed to be my friends came to me with a very discouraging word and didn't understand or have any compassion for what my emotions were going through as I was watching my world just crumble and felt powerless to do anything about it. Right? Okay, so let's just start reading out of Job. Chapter 6. Shalom, Asia. Alrighty. Then Job spoke again. If my misery could be weighed and my troubles be put on scales, they would outweigh all the sands of the sea. That is why I spoke impulsively. For the Almighty has struck me down with his arrows, their poisons infecting my spirit. Elohim's terrors are lined up against me. Don't I have a right to complain? Don't wild donkeys bray when they find no grass and oxen bellow when they have no food? Now, I love this. I'm hoping the people that are, listening to some of my broadcasts are listening to these things when we start to have an explanation of the wild donkeys and of the oxen, because these are hints for Ephraim, right? Because that was that symbol on the banner and the tribes that were with them. So this would be for all of Rachel's children, right? So I just find that interesting, and I wanted to point that out. Don't people complain about unsalted food? Does anyone want the tasteless white of an egg? My appetite disappears when I look at it. I gag at the thought of eating it. See, this is why I like using this translation for these kind of messages, because it's just dealing with the raw emotion, right? Oh, that I might have my request, that Elohim would grant my desire. I wish he would crush me. I wish he would just reach out his hand and kill me. That kind of suffering, I remember when I was suffering so much, and I mean, I was in bed, 3 weeks at a time. And then on my good weeks, I was in bed 4 days out of every week. I had no strength to even get out of bed. And I felt like, well, what good is my life? I felt like I'm just a burden to my husband. I'm a burden to people around me. I don't have any outlet. And I started complaining and really saying, Father, if this is it, just go ahead and take me out. And I heard in my spirit, I've poured so much into you, Chelle. I've watched you through so much thing, and I've trained you, and I've put truth within you. And now, right when I'm training you to step into the battle, I couldn't see it, But right when I'm training you to step into the battle, now you want to give up on me? Now you want to, really, is that what you want? And it reminded me of like someone that, had an employee, and they've trained and they've trained and they've trained and they've trained. And then, the employee's like, okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. Right. And so that's what it was reminding me of. And so I really felt like led. I was like, okay, Father, just help me to endure then. Help me learn how to endure. Help me learn how to get a vantage point that you are good and that your mercy endures forever, and help me be willing to stick in the battle. And what he showed me at that point was kind of a vision. And he showed me, because I was studying a book called When God Weeps, and by Joni Eareckson Tada. And she was teaching about the fact that even when we're all alone, we're not all alone. There's always a great cloud of witnesses, watching what's going on with us and what our response is going to be. And so, that was it. And Yah showed me that no suffering is ever purposeless, that there is a great cloud of witnesses, and there are part that are on Yah's side that are like cheering us on, hoping that we're going to choose the right thing. And then there's all the accusers and the adversaries on the other side, saying, gosh, yeah, just curse him and die. Go ahead, right? And that's happening all around us, even though we can't perceive it. And so no suffering is without purpose, right? But this is how it feels. So I'm going to continue in Job. So the feelings are very real, and we have to try to rise up above that. And it's no easy task, but knowing these things, knowing that we are on display in front of a great cloud of witnesses, and the fact that even as our souls are in anguish and tears are just flowing and there's hardship after hardship, we still say, Yahuah, you are good and your mercy endures forever. And I don't have to understand what's happening to believe that that is true. I'm going to serve you regardless of what this feels like right now. I'm going to praise your name no matter what else is happening in my life, right? Because everything that you've already done for me, there's a song that's sung at Passover called Dayenu. It would have been enough. It would have been enough if he had just untangled me from the pit of destruction that I was in. That would have been enough, right? And it is enough. But yet he does continue to bless me. But it's hard when those hard times are hitting. It's hard to stay right in the midst of what it is we need to be keeping our minds on. Okay. Right here, I'm going to go back and I'm going to try to continue reading 6 and 7, because I'm looking and I'm like, wow, I've been talking 10 minutes. It will be hard for me to keep this down right to the portion that I need to. All right. So, okay. So I'm in Job 6. I'm going to start at 8. Oh, that I might have my request, that Elohim would grant my desire. I wish he would crush me. I wish he would reach out his hand and kill me. At least I can take comfort in this. Despite the pain, I have not denied the words of the Holy One. But I don't have the strength to endure. I have nothing to live for. Do I have the strength of a stone? Is my body made of bronze? No, I'm utterly helpless without any chance of success. One should be kind to a fainting friend. He's talking back to these friends that were accusing him in the midst of his pain. One should be kind to a fainting friend, because you accuse me without any fear of the Almighty. And this was so true, what he was saying to his friends. Before you go accusing someone, you better check in. You better check in with the Almighty and make sure that you've got that right. My brothers, you've proved as unreliable as a seasonal brook that overflows its banks in the spring, when it is swollen with ice and melting snow. But when the hot weather arrives, the water disappears, the brook vanishes in the heat. The caravans turn aside to be refreshed, but there's nothing to drink, so they die. The caravans from Tema search for this water. The travelers from Sheba hope to find it. They count on it, but are disappointed. When they arrive, their hopes are dashed. You too have given no help. You have seen my calamity, and you are afraid. But why? Have I ever asked you for a gift? Have I begged for anything of yours for myself? Have I asked you to rescue me from my enemies or to save me from ruthless people? Teach me and I will keep quiet. Show me what I have done wrong. Honest words can be painful, but what do your criticisms amount to? Do you think your words are convincing when you disregard my cry of desperation? And wow, isn't this something for us to remember in ministry when we're trying to minister out to others? Don't discount. There's appropriate responses when people are hurting. Sometimes it's to cry with those who are mourning, to mourn with those who are mourning, not to go shoving advice down their throats, or setting up, this is the way you should walk. I mean, at times there's times we need to give a word and lift somebody up, but we've got to be really sensitive to the Ruach and listening to his voice so that we have a fit word to speak when people are in the midst of pain, so that our words are truly coming from him, because this word of Yah is a double-edged sword. It can heal or it can destroy. And so when we're entrusted with that, it is important that we are listening and paying attention to that for his leading and how to minister out to another when they are in the depths of pain. We've got to really sharpen that discernment. Good morning, Tammy. So good to see you. Gosh, there's some awesome comments. Thank you, guys. I love this from Lee and James. He who lives in us is mightier than he that lives in the world. That's absolutely true. Thank you so much, Kat. I appreciate your encouragement that this is a great word. That means a lot to me. I wish I was as talented as you guys and knew how to put comments on the screen, but maybe Kat will teach me how to do that sometime. I have no idea. All right. All right. I am still in Job 6. Starting now in 27. Would you send an orphan into slavery or sell a friend? Look at me. Would I lie to your face? Stop assuming my guilt, for I've done no wrong. Do you think I'm lying? Don't I know the difference between right and wrong? Starting in chapter 7. Is not all human life a struggle? Our lives are like that of a hired hand, like a worker who longs for the shade, like a servant waiting to be paid. I too have been assigned months of futility, long and weary nights of misery. Lying in bed, I think, when will it be morning? But the night drags on and I toss till dawn. That's what it's like when your body is just in pain from head to toe. You're exhausted all day and then you get in bed at night and there's no rest because you're just in pain, right? It's a miserable condition. And I totally get that. That's what like mold and Lyme and stuff do to a person's body. It's painful. So lying in bed, I think, when will it be morning? But the night drags on and I toss till dawn. My body's covered with maggots and scabs. My skin breaks open, oozing with pus. Yeah, well, praise you, I haven't had to experience that. My days fly faster than a weaver's shuttle. They end without hope. Oh, Elohim, remember that my life is but a breath and I will never again feel happiness. We are told that that's what it feels like. Is that true? No. We will again feel happiness. But at that moment of pain, that's exactly what it feels like. It feels like, am I ever going to know relief from this? Because the pain has gotten to a point where it feels unendurable. We feel like I've prayed. Well, the good news is just keep praying. Keep praying because he does hear, and we are a witness unto his goodness and his mercy. All right. Oh, Elohim, remember that my life is but a breath and I will never again feel happiness. You see me now, but not for long. You will look for me, but I'm going to be gone. Just as a cloud, because it feels like he felt like he was dying. Just as a cloud dissipates and vanishes, those who die will not come back. They're gone forever from their home, never to be seen again. I cannot keep from speaking. I must express my anguish. My bitter soul must complain. Am I a sea monster or a dragon that you must place me under guard? I love that. He was not accusing Yah. He was asking honest questions. He was pouring out his heart. There's a huge difference between being real with Yah and saying, this is really where I'm at. I'm not accusing you of anything bad because I know your word is true and your mercy endures forever. But Yah, this is hard on me. Please intervene. There's a huge difference. And it's all about developing that relationship to where we get to a point. I'm sorry, my throat's really messy this morning, but we get to that point of frustration. But Yah understands it. He said that Job spoke wild words, and he does. He understands our humanity. It's okay to pour out our frustrations and plead for his intervention, but we never want to cross over to the side of the accuser and start accusing him of not being good. It's okay to be real about the emotions, but we're not going to join in with the accuser because we know that he is good, right? And we're going to stand for that. Okay, so he says in verse 13, it's 7:13, I think my bed will comfort me and sleep will ease my misery, but then you shatter me with dreams and terrify me with visions. I mean, that's happened to me too. When you're walking close to Yah, you can really, he shares things with you that sometimes are disturbing in the midst of it. Why does he do this? Because he trusts us and he loves us. And I came to believe in the midst of all this, one of the things that it was long before this actually, when I lost my child, I came to believe, it just got impressed upon me that I knew that Yah had put within me a heart that could be trusted with trouble. I came to believe it. I still believe it today because I knew when I survived my child's death and I learned how to process my relationship with Yah in the midst of that and learn to know him, I knew that he had done something in me to prepare me for warrior mentality. Warrior mentality is having a heart that can be trusted even when trouble comes your way, to be a witness to the great cloud of witnesses, to be a witness in the heavenly realms that I won't deny him, that I will continue to love him because Dayanu, he's done enough for me already. Doesn't mean I don't feel everything I'm going through, because that's just reality. I'm in a human body, right? All right, I'm going to finish chapter 7 and I'm going to continue this theme, the next couple of days because I think it's important. I can see from the comments you guys are really resonating with this. And so this is going to be the theme for the next couple of days, but I'm already at the 20-minute mark. So I'm going to finish this and then I'll be back tomorrow to continue the theme. Okay. So I'm going to start in 11. So I'm in Job 7:11. I cannot keep from speaking. I must express my anguish. My bitter soul must complain. Am I a sea monster or a dragon that you must place me under guard? I think my bed will comfort me and sleep will ease my misery, but then you shatter me with dreams and terrify me with visions. I would rather be strangled, rather die than suffer like this. I hate my life and I don't want to go on living. Oh, leave me alone for my few remaining days. I mean, Job was struggling, right? What are people that you should make so much of us? This reminds me of Psalm 8, which is a beautiful psalm. What are people that you should make so much of us, that you should think of us so often? For you examine us every morning and test us every moment. Why won't you leave me alone at least long enough for me to swallow? Yeah, I didn't mind him having that response, that human response. It's lovely. This is a beautiful example of relationship. If I've sinned, what have I done to you, O watcher of all humanity? He's like, just show me what I've done wrong. I'd repent if I knew, if I could understand, right? Why make me your target? Am I a burden to you? Why not just forgive my sin and take away my guilt? For soon I will lie down in the dust and die. When you look for me, I will be gone. So we really get to see his heart just in anguish, not understanding what is happening, but yet not being an accuser of Yahuah.